Hello everyone, welcome back into my channel and now I'm going to watch a video called Fate Lore Abridged, The Ridiculous Tales of Babylon. Actually, this is the continuation of the Tales of Camelot by the same creator, so let's check it out.
So I'm Dai, here to tell you about my boy Gilgamesh, the OG hero, the guy whose epic legend set the standard for other legends. Yeah, all them other heroes be plagiarizing. For this story, we gotta go all the way back to when Gilga was putting the baby in Babylon. See, he ain't human. Rather, the toddler's a demigod, born from his mortal daddy-o, Banda, and his smexy wife, the goddess Ninsun. His divinity isn't a coincidence either. The gods are getting out of Dodge, so to speak. Their time is slowly running out, and they're off to chill in the reverse side of the world, where they've got jacuzzis and free hot dogs. But since this is a long process, the planet's will wants someone to serve as a mediator between humans and the divine. That's Gilgamesh, born to be the keystone of heaven. So the stork brings this halfling along to his parents, and isn't he just adorable? He's such an innocent child, isn't he? Wrong! Mama Ninsun's got her baby boy cradled in her arms when he starts to speak his first words. Banda comes running in, and they listen as the baby opens its mouth to sound out. They wait with optimism.
Mommy? Are you calling me mommy?
Instead, the brat points to one of their slaves and affirms with glee. Mongrel! It is then that Gilgamesh's parents know something's up, and they have a sneaky suspicion, a shiver up their spine, predicting their child will grow up to be a total douchebag. Baby Gilga loves the gods, but doesn't obey their commands. So they get to thinking about how to punish the young lad, how to steer him in the right direction. Anu, king of the Mesopotamian gods, asks his council.
Hey guys, the Keystone's not listening to us. I want to nip this in the bud by sending someone we'll have complete control over. Got any ideas?
Silence ensues, until one of them answers.
Well, I've got some lovely mud right here.
Okay.
No, listen to me. We can take said mud and sculpt it as we see fit. If we bring it to life, it'll have to obey us, and we can destroy it at our leisure.
Anyone got any better ideas?
Anu looks around, his eyes met with indifference and shrugs.
Fine, that'll do. Bring forth the mud.
And just like that, the king of gods and Aruru, goddess of creation, mold with their bare hands a masterpiece from clay.
Behold, the one that shall guide the keystone.
What is that?
Enkidu.
Again, more silence.
What? What's wrong?
Excuse me, but what the hell is that?
In front of the gods stood a thing, some sort of amorphous monster blob.
I never said I was an artist.
Anu sends Enkidu the blob down to Earth, where it awakens in the forest outside the kingdom of Uruk. From on high, Anu instructs.
Go on, my child. Head to the city and serve as the chains that will bring Gilgamesh back under our control.
Instead, Enkidu just wanders off into the woods to go play with animals.
Wait, what are you doing? This is not your purpose,
Enkidu
child!
is a Pokemon!
Calls.
Well, it's not like you gave it a soul or anything. What do you expect?
The gods curse their folly as Enkidu spends time being free in the wild. There, it meets with a vicious monster, Humbaba, guardian of the cedar forest.
Is that Humbaba?
Enkidu makes friends with the beast, and even finds it kinda cute. Even as a soulless blob, Enkidu can see that Humbaba's got the innocent heart of a young girl, and so it makes her a pretty crown of flowers. Meanwhile, Anu facepalms, pondering how to take control of the thing that's supposed to take control of Gilgamesh. In a last-ditch effort, Anu brings forth Uruk's sacred prostitute, Shamat. Enkidu takes one look at the gorgeous woman and goes,
Let me smash, please.
like a carrot on the end of a stick, Shamat lures the lump of clay, and they get freaky for an entire 6 days and 7 nights. During this time, Enkidu learns to be human, and out of appreciation of her beauty, molds itself into her appearance.
Okay,
Suddenly,
that's Enkidu.
Enkidu's all,
And why is he half naked?
I've got to put that Gilga guy in his place.
and ventures into Uruk. To their surprise, Enkidu declares to their father,
Yeah, no.
What do you mean, no?
I'm not about to beat up a kid, you know.
Sure, but he's gonna be a real jerk soon, just you wait.
But he's such an innocent boy. Surely he'll grow up fine.
You wanna bet?
Grow
50
up
shekels is
fine.
the nastiest brat you ever meet.
Very well, you're on.
So they do wait, and sure enough, Gilgamesh grows up to be an awful person. Before you know it, he's become a tyrant who treats his people like garbage, taxing them to death, pushing slaves to their limit, all while basking in kingly luxuries. He even invokes prima nocta, a self-proclaimed law allowing him and his noble compatriots the chance to have their way with women on their wedding nights. His arrogance is outrageous, baffling the gods with just how bad he's gotten. Enkidu hands over the winnings to the gods, admitting,
Yeah, no contest. Looks like I'm gonna have to spank some sense into this guy.
and so, Enkidu stomps his way into Uruk, confronting Gilgamesh in front of the Great Temple.
Hey, King! Why you gotta be such a meanie?
Who dares disrupt me while I'm contemplating which is larger, my bravery or my libido? Oh, you used to be a lovely lady.
I am neither man nor woman. I am Enkidu, an envoy of the gods, sent to change your tyrannical rule.
My tyranny is what makes this country prosper. These mongrels have been raised to push themselves to their finest potential. Not one is frivolous. Like seriously, I tried to call my least useful slaves and found out I actually rely on all of them.
You refer to your subjects as mere dogs. Yet you flaunt your divinity?
Well, duh. I am the bridge between mortals and gods. See? The gods even gave me this awesome sword, Aya! Isn't it, like, totally awesome?
Gilgamesh holds out his greatest treasure, Ea, the Sword of Rupture, which can literally tear realities apart.
Oh, that's nice. But consider the following. You are a demigod born of both man and god. Does this not make you part mongrel yourself?
Oh!
Suddenly,
That's
dark
okay.
clouds form above them. The king's wrath has been provoked.
You dare compare me to the likes of commoners? Perhaps I should demonstrate all the neat toys in my toy box!
Gilgamesh
That's like
whips
Gate
out
of
his Gate of
Babylon.
Babylon, which contains the entirety of his treasures, mostly a ton of swords, and the occasional first edition print of Action Comics issue 1, atop an NES classic.
Impressive. Allow me to challenge you to a duel.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu begin their bout. Gil runs up with a sword and swings it, only to discover that his opponent can literally shapeshift. Enkidu's body bends and morphs to dodge the king's attacks, like Ditto inside the Matrix.
So you're both androgynous and amorphous. Yes, I shall call you Pillsbury!
Excuse me?
Seeing as how Gilgamesh cannot hit Enkidu in close quarters, he instead beckons his swords to charge forth from the gate, launching as sharp projectiles. One flies past, scattering Enkidu's gorgeous flowing hair.
What's wrong with you? What kind of moron treats swords like arrows?
These are my toys, and I get to decide how to play with them.
Very well. Perhaps this will expedite things.
What
Well,
kind of
it
moron
doesn't.
street sword
They fight
like
day
an
in
arrows?
and out,
It's
until
an
Gilgamesh
archer!
uses up every sword in his stash. The two, exhausted, collapse on the ground.
Pillsbury, you've sapped me of all my strength. Let's call this a draw.
This is not a matter of winning or losing. It's a matter of whether you reform your oppressive rule. Oh, and don't call me.
That was so cool! Two formidable warriors duking it out and trashing the temple in the process! Can we be besties?
I too was invigorated. I'd love to be amicable, but I simply cannot. I have a duty to perform.
Who cares? Those gods have grown all crotchety anyway. You know what? The kingdom's fine on its own for a bit. Let's go on an adventure!
For the time being, Enkidu decides to accompany Gilgamesh on his journey. The two leave, and Uruk rejoices in their absence. Yay! They travel the land in search of strong opponents. Eventually, they stop to contemplate.
They make it
So, Gilgamesh,
sound
what
so
are we gonna
happy
do
without
tonight?
Gil.
The same thing we do every night, Pillsbury. Try to take over the world.
I thought you said this world and all its treasures were already yours.
The filthy parasites of this earth do not all acknowledge me as king. I must punish those who mess with my stuff.
Before long, they return to the cedar forest, where the beast Humbaba remains. Even though the monster's just doing its job, it's also causing Uruk's people to starve.
Didn't you say this Humbubba-Majig used to be your friend?
Once, but now I am merely your loyal tool.
Gilgamesh embraces Enkidu, assuring him,
You're no tool. We're bros. Through and through. You're my bestest bro ever and will always be.
Enkidu cries in Gilga's
And it
arms.
just turns into a
While they're
bromance.
having a beautiful moment, Humbaba comes sneaking up on them.
Holy hell! That monster's supposed to be an innocent girl? With all those sharp pointy teeth?
I think she's cute, like a T-Rex. But we mustn't let our sentiments get the better of us. The beast must be slain.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu take to the beast like a WrestleMania tag team, grappling and slamming their opponent against trees.
WrestleMania
After one
tag team.
powerful suplex, Humbaba is wounded, and Enkidu lops its head clean off.
Bro, that was gangsta.
Truly, but I do feel guilty. Tragedy needn't befall such a creature.
No kidding. She was still wearing that little flower crown you made for her.
I shall lay another in its place.
Enkidu crafts a second circlet and rests it beside the beast's corpse.
That's deep, bro.
Recognizing their epic bout from on high, the super sexy goddess Ishtar approaches Gilgamesh, stroking her finger across his chiseled abs.
Oh, my sweet Gilgabuddy. You're so brave. I want you to be my special hubby.
In response, Gilgamesh swats her hand away. As Gilga stands contemplating, Enkidu instructs.
Hey, look at the goddess. Then back to me. Now back at the goddess. Now back to me. Sadly, she isn't me. Now tell her to shove off.
Ishtar, amazed, declares.
Enkidu was
Gilgabuddy,
jealous.
I didn't know you swung that way.
Getting defensive, Gilgamesh points aggressively.
Hey, it's not gay if it's clay.
Damn straight.
Oh, damn.
Gilgamesh calms himself, staring deeply into Ishtar's eyes. It's almost as if he can smell her infidelity and promiscuity. While he was generally fond of the gods, he would not sell out. At the top of his lungs, he roars!
Be gone, thought!
The earth stands still for a moment as Ishtar struggles to form her thoughts.
Be gone.
She returns to her domain on a river made from her flowing tears.
You think that was a bit harsh?
Nonsense, Pillsbury. The gods cannot contain me.
Despite Gilga's proud declaration, his insult to the goddess is met with supreme rage. Ishtar runs back to her daddy Anu and cries,
Daddy! Gilgabuddy called me a thought.
Anu is also met with rage.
How dare he! I'll have to punish him myself!
He sends down Ishtar's strongest familiar, the fierce bull of heaven, Gugalana.
Oh, that's
The
Gugalana.
divine bull brings 7 years of dark clouds, flood, and famine to Gilgamesh's kingdom.
I take it back. Perhaps the term thought should not be wielded irresponsibly.
How gracious, but might I ask, how the hell are we supposed to kill a monster the size of a friggin' mountain?
Pillsbury, you once said you were made to be the chains that bind me to the god's
Pillsbury.
will, right?
That was more a metaphor, but yeah.
Could you literally do that?
The thought of you bound in chains makes my heart race, but now isn't the time.
What? No! Do you think you can become the chains to topple this titan?
Oh, I guess.
Their plan devised, Gilgamesh sends Enkidu out to the battlefield to whip around Gulgana's rear legs, tying them together with chains. In a single maneuver, the boar falls clumsily onto the ground in Uruk, and once again, Gilgamesh and Enkidu defeat yet another mighty foe. In reverence to Ishtar's hatred, Gilgamesh severs the boar's massive hind and hurls it back at her. The next day, Gilga gets a knock on his door. It's Anu, now exceptionally pissed.
Really? Did you just throw a giant boar's ass at my daughter?
Gilgamesh accidentally lets a laugh escape his restrained smirk.
You guys can't keep doing this! These beasts serve a purpose. Worse, Ishtar's demanding heads in recompense. With that said, I'm gonna have to confiscate your silly putty.
In shock, Gilgamesh is powerless in the face of Anu as he snaps his fingers.
Hey Gilgamesh, I don't feel so good.
Before their eyes, Enkidu begins to break apart and return to the earth. Horrified, Gilgamesh holds Enkidu tightly in their last moments.
Oh, Gilgamesh, thank you for showing me such kindness. We'll always be BFFs.
Yes, my friend. I'll never forget how when I poked your belly, you'd giggle like a ninny.
Seriously though, this is messed up. Gilgamesh stood up to the gods and wound up losing his most valuable treasure, friendship. As a consolation prize of sorts, he did receive the ability to use Enkidu's Chains of Heaven as a weapon within the Gate of Babylon. It's actually a decent memento. Needless to say, this changes a guy. He thought he was all-powerful, invincible even. So having his only friend go poof so easily makes him afraid of death. Just how could the Gilgamaster observe all of humanity if he dies? To find out, he exhausts himself and his intelligence network to discover word of an old sage guy named
It's a road to
Utnapishtim,
become a caster
who's
guild.
actually got immortality. He's pretty much the archetype of Noah. Did the same stuff too, gathering animals on a boat to avoid a deluge against the earth. Needless to say, he's a big deal. Gilgamesh stares into the horizon, screaming,
I want that!
Turns out the guy's a bit of a hermit. Much prefers the company of souls in the friggin' underworld.
That's quite the strange dude. But you know what? A tyrant's gotta do what a tyrant's gotta do.
Gilgamesh, clad in golden armor,
That's so
strolls his
rich.
way into the underworld like a boss. And you know what he finds? A tree. You heard me. A humble shrubbery. Well, it has a face, which is creepy. Utnapishtim's made himself into a friggin' plant.
Hey, old man. You're immortal, right? Gotta say, you
That's
do look worse for wear.
Utnapishtim.
About that.
The plant responds.
Turns out living forever's kinda easy. You've just gotta become a god.
But you used to be human. Don't you care?
No, not really.
Immortality's pointless if I have to sacrifice my humanity.
Suit yourself, loser.
The plant responds.
Actually, you know what? Get over here.
Gilgamesh leans into the plant to hear him whisper.
Actually, if you go down a bit further, you'll find the most amazing weed. It's so out of this world that if you take it in, it's said you live forever. It's legit, man.
Gilga ventures deeper into the underworld and indeed discovers a unique herb.
That old man's higher than a kite. Why should I believe this won't make me into a god? Still, this would be a killer entry for my vault.
He gathers the herb into a jar and sets out for the surface.
You know what? Immortality's overrated anyway. I'm all above that noise.
Gilgamesh sniffs his disheveled body.
Woo! For all my smack talk against mongrels, I sure do smell like one.
Before returning to Uruk, he settles down into a nearby spring to cleanse and heal himself. There, he has an epiphany.
I quite like humans. It's best I observe them as one. In fact, I've never felt more human and alive than at this very moment. Ooh, the feels!
Meanwhile, a hungry-ass snake sneaks up and scares Gilga half to death before eating all the herb.
Pokemon again.
Wondering what will happen, he watches the snake as it sheds its skin and is essentially reborn anew. The herb wasn't going to make him a god after all. In fact, if he had it, it'd be a perfect potion of youth.
So this stuff was the real deal. This is ridiculous. No. You know what? I'm not even mad. All this work was for nothing, but like I said, who needs immortality? If I'm gonna preside over humanity, I need to live and die as a human. I'm sure Pillsbury would
Oh,
have won.
wow. That sounds
Surprisingly
very
enough,
nice.
Gilgamesh returns home, now slightly less douchey than when he left. He stops
Less
pissing off the
douchey?
gods and rules Uruk before passing the torch on to another. That said, the damage is done, and the gods are guaranteed to peace out in the coming centuries. For all his cruelty, in his own messed up way, Gilgamesh envisions a bright future for his people. Still, just to be safe, he goes all the way back down into the underworld for another hit of that youth weed. The fact that it was just rotting in some hellish cave instead of in his Gate of Babylon pissed him off. Plus, he got excited about exploiting others as a child. In life, he never uses it. Boy's got discipline, knows when not to start shooting blanks. His epic continues until his dying day. At the end of the day, love or hate the guy, his badass story serves as the basis for dozens of heroic legends to come, and all of his valuables become thought of as the prototypes to the most legendary weapons in history. When he's not being an evil swine, ripping the hearts from little girls, he may just get it together in time to prevent the human race from simultaneously dying in a massive fireball of beastly fire. Who knows? He might even start to get along with Artoria and fight alongside her. Still, one thing's for certain. The guy will only ever have one friend, the androgynous Play-Doh Enkidu. Girlman himself decides to join the fray, and Ishtar decides to get a piece of the action by fusing with the talented Bae, Rin Tosaka. Not a bad call. Thank you so much, all of you, for making this an awesome experience. Be sure to check out Otaku Daikun.
Okay guys, so that's the end of this video, which is Fate Lore Abridged, the ridiculous tales of Babylon. And I think the dialogue in this video is funnier than the tales of Camelot. And it's so funny to see these Pokemon's paper dolls that are being used to make this video. And I really appreciate the people who made this video, because this video is so informative but also very hilarious at the same time. So thanks for the one who shared the link of the video in the comment section. I really appreciate it. And as usual, if you guys have another video that you want me to react to, just put it in the comment section. So thank you guys for watching our video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you again on my next video, and take care.